Lawrence, could you speak to kind of forming a professional identity as a therapist?
I can, yeah, speaking to forming my own professional identity as a therapist. Um, I'm still a work in progress when it comes to my own identity as a therapist, and it's something that's been on my mind a lot recently, um, that I've been questioning, and I suppose the answers to the questions I've been asking comes down to really having as much practical experience as a therapist as possible, which will naturally allow for my professional identity to evolve and come to the surface. And what professional identity means to me is my particular approach to therapy, and a particular style of therapy that would like to use, like when you finish college, there's a requirement to do 450 hours depending on who your the body your representing body is, and the reason for you to have to do those 450 hours is so you can gain experience and get a grasp on how you like to approach therapy and what your style of helping people is, because each person is different. You'll have some people who focus on CBT, some more on the humanistic approach, and they probably do that for various reasons, because CBT can be quite formalized in the sense that you have worksheets and it's quite kind of more heady stuff, where the humanistic approach, it would encompass like the heady stuff, but also more kind of like the feeling. It's a bit more holistic in the sense that you'd be dealing with more of feelings and emotions and those type of aspects. So yeah, it's for me. It's kind of it's about like reading as much material as I can, gaining as much knowledge as I can, which goes a long way to helping me form my own professional identity.
Yeah.
There's not too much to it other than that for me at present. Practical experience is the
Yeah.
key thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you raised a really good point, is that like it's an ongoing process. I remember like chatting to other therapists, like super like veteran therapists with decades and decades of experience. And they were chatting like, what type of therapist are you, what type of approach? People change it as well. So I was chatting to people who were saying like, oh, I was big into CBT for like 20 years,
Yeah.
and now I'm into like emotional focused therapy. Or I was mainly focused on clients with complex trauma, and now I'm doing kind of more like executive kind of coaching
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
stuff, strategizing and
Yeah.
so one is, even if you have formed a professional identity, it's not, you'll probably change multiple times, because people you like novelty. You might work in one kind of area for a long period, like trauma or addiction, or kind of like more coaching kind of style stuff, where people are quite high functioning. And then you could just change. You might like one type. You might like academic curiosity. You'd be very much into CBT, and you get into like family systems, or you might be very much into like couples counseling for a long time, and then you meet a certain type of client. That sounds like an interesting area. Maybe I'll do some CPD on that, and the next thing you know, a couple of years go by and you've changed. So I think the only real way to form one is, you should understand that you can't be an expert in everything. When you first kind of finish college, you're very much a generalist, like, and that's why supervision is so important. You're kind of like front line, just dealing with general stuff that isn't too complex. And over time, as your experience and your knowledge deepens, then you can start to kind of like pigeonhole yourself in a good way into a more kind of specific role, and that's kind of specificity through experience and knowledge. That's where part of your identity will be formed. So whatever that is, and there's variety within the job as well. That's a good thing. And you're not suitable to work with all clients. Like, I don't have a ton of experience working with like complex PTSD. So a client could come into me and I have enough training to know, all right, well, this sounds like some PTSD, or I could maybe like identify something, but I also have the kind of knowledge, experience, and humility to kind of put my hand up and go, you know, I reckon that they need some sort of more specialist, someone who spent a lot of time focusing on this specific issue. And then I would touch base with my supervisor, and we would come up with a referral plan to someone whose professional identity is, you know, they're highly specialized in a certain area of like something like complex PTSD. And that's fine. So I would say it's a journey. You're allowed change and move around, you know, that's fine. And just because you haven't got a professional identity right now, like, or any kind of specialty right now, that's okay. And just give it time and experience, and something will come up that you're interested in. Go off, do some CPD, read a couple of books, chat to some people in that area, and then maybe that's your identity for a couple of years. And then maybe change will come along. Maybe get interested in something else.
Yeah,
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, your identity for a period of time, especially starting off, could be like as a journey person
Yeah.
who's just kind of discovering who they are, like professionally, and that's where you're at,
Yeah.
you know. So it's not very defined.
Yeah, that's the
You know?
point. Just you're not alone. Like, if you're ever worried that a client's issues are too much for you to handle or something like that, you know, like, you're not alone. Just talk to your peers. We have peer supervision groups. You have your supervisor, you have people you work with, and if you feel like something is beyond your expertise, you can't be an expert in everything. You're allowed referral is really, really important.
Yeah.
So don't be worried if you haven't got a professional identity just yet. It's an ongoing process that will change over time.
Exactly. Yeah. If you don't feel like you have enough experience to help somebody, it's perfectly okay to refer them on to someone
They
else.
could be with you for 5 sessions.
Yeah.
And you're just tidying up some aspects of their life and saying, hey, look, this seems like it's a big issue for you. Let's get someone who really, really, they spent a lot of their time working there. And then refer them on. Referral's really important and good for the client.
Yeah. It doesn't make you a bad therapist.
Doesn't make you a bad therapist.
I think over time you become more, once you become kind of more confident and you build up your esteem in, like, as a professional, you just you become more comfortable saying like, oh, I'm not too familiar with that area, it might be good for you, you know, to go and speak to a more experienced therapist around that issue that you're having, and that's not
fine.
problem.
Yeah, a therapist who formulates their professional identity around that key issue, because this key issue seems to be quite a big piece of the puzzle for you. So that's it. So form your professional identity, ongoing process. Be curious. It's okay to refer people on if you feel they don't fit your professional identity, and you know, don't be locked into one identity. You're allowed change. You know, you're allowed change through experience and knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's forming a professional identity.
Okay,
Okay.
very good.